laughing at me, huh? But it's true, right?
Yeah, no,
Bert has his hand up too. It looks like he wants to say something.
Bert?
So a couple of items. Number one, guest books, guides. We've over the years had a ton of those things. So ask Chuck Barreco and I'll go look in my files. We've every 5 years we try to create one of these things over the last 40 years. So somewhere in files there's a bunch of guides for guests.
yeah, I
Number
don't
two
believe
is
I never got one.
yeah, but we get them written, but we never give them out. That's the problem.
Yeah,
So
so
the other
I
thing
have
I'd
a
like-
number. I have a number of drafts. I have Addison's
Okay.
version. I've been
There you go.
collecting
So you
input
can
from
just
different-
re-engineer what you got. Second thing is, we did long time ago, we replaced summer choirs for churches. We did it one or twice. There is a barbershop book of spiritual of hymns sort of thing. That was an interesting way of recruiting sub rosa because some of the summer choir people would actually sing with us and got interested in barbershop. So maybe we can be a replacement summer choir for some of these churches. Just an idea. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Bert.
Let me just note this.
Any more questions for Elliot?
Well, I still have another item. Sorry. Yeah, so the thing I'm struggling with, and there was an email exchange between some of us, is how to treat the inactive candidates. I don't know how concerned we are about the licenses. That's the main thing. Right now, we do have a lot of candidates and on Groupanizer. Those candidates all get access to music. Those candidates include actual active candidates, of which I'd say we now have 4, all of whom were at the last rehearsal. We have a number of inactive candidates from VIH. So people like Joey Berube and Greg Koskowicz, who probably will or may become active. And then we have still others that we haven't really heard from, as well as a bunch of older ones like Devin Ralph and James Misa and that whole cohort of young guys. Right now, they're all there consuming music licenses. And
Are they consuming music licenses or are they consuming Groupanizer licenses?
Actually both. Now, Groupanizer licenses, we have up to 99.
So when you say they're consuming a music license, that implies that you have a way of tracking that they have downloaded something.
No, I don't. The thing that I do see is the number of invitations. So if I add a candidate, the feedback I get is 61 music invitations just went out to this candidate. So I think what that means is they have the ability to download off Groupanizer. I don't know whether we can track downloads or who's tracking it or how much we care.
I think Groupanizer does have tracking, download tracking.
So the thing about music licenses, when we purchase a song, we purchase for X number of copies, right? And we've been buying for 50 because we've had somewhere between 20 and 30 people show up there. And then the expectation is that they have printed their own copy. So they've downloaded and printed a copy. So we have maybe 30 that have been done. Whether or not right now there's like, I don't know how many names there are on Groupanizer. It's more than 50, but some of these people aren't singing anymore with us, and so the the song can go back into inventory, so to speak, if they're not using it, right? So at least that's in my head, the logic behind it, which may or may not fly with any legal perspective on it. But I think we need to figure out whether or not Groupanizer is tracking the downloads, and our only efficient way and effective way of determining whether we are reaching the 50 copy maximum on whatever it is that we've purchased is to identify how many downloads there have been. And then we got to use that as our gauge. And then if we need to, you know, to purchase a few additional copies, we can do that through BHS electronically. So that's my input.
I just want to be sure that if the same person downloads the same song multiple times, that only counts once, right?
It would only, in my mind, yes.
And that's how Groupanizer does it as well.
Okay, good.
Okay, so I don't.
Curtis
I'm
had
not
his hand up.
familiar with that part, and I
Same
mean,
question.
that sounds like a music librarian type function, or I don't know, unless you want me to.
I mean, whoever has information on, I don't know who had, somebody who knows Groupanizer. I don't know squat about Groupanizer. So I don't know where to even look. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm learning, and I have access to admin guides.
Okay.
So
And check with
This might
Tabry.
this might be an opportunity for a new guy to help contribute, right? Like all of a sudden, like in my head, I'm like, hey, could Prashant, is that something like someone like Prashant could do? Or is there an opportunity for a new singer to contribute?
Within our,
Well, they
within our,
probably need
yeah.
admin privileges to do that.
No, here's, I think this is kind of the question. Within our incoming cohort, is there any computer geek?
Prashant is an IT guy. Shiv's in tech. I mean, there's a few of them floating around all of a sudden.
Yeah. So there's some possibilities, and so cool.
Okay, so maybe I'll speak to one of them about music licenses. But still.
Hey, Elliot, start with, do you have any interest in helping us out with Groupanizer administration? That's probably your starting question.
Well, I have no choice, okay, because I'm constantly on Groupanizer, changing people's roles. I'm doing a lot of Groupanizer administration.
Yeah, and on the grand scheme of things, it's pretty low value work.
It's pretty what?
Low value work from my perspective.
But it's necessary work.
Yeah, I'd understand. I'd rather have you recruiting than moving Danny from lead to tenor, right? Like,
yeah, the idea is to bring someone else onto your chapter development team, Elliot, and delegate the management of the Groupanizer material so that you can focus on other things.
Okay. I think I'd probably rather do that with a member.
Whoever, it doesn't matter. Just
Yeah.
as long as you grab somebody. Shiv is a member.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Okay.
Curtis, do you have a question?
My question was actually the same one that Michael asked, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so I still don't know whether we want to, I've been spending a lot of time figuring out these new roles, making people associate members and inactive members to kind of try and control who can access music on Groupanizer. So in a way, it's a preemptive approach for managing things rather than trying to track downloads. Now, maybe I've been on the wrong path, and maybe I should just allow members and candidates to proliferate our ranks and not worry about whether.
Elliot, I don't think you're on the wrong track. I think these are two separate and necessary components of how we use Groupanizer. We need to know who is involved and active, within our structure, so that when we're looking at events and things, we don't have the population of 62 guys that we're expecting to have a response as to whether attending or something when there's really only 44, okay? And then, but so that's one necessary usage. The tracking of downloads for music is a separate need, but it's an important need, and that's a different action. So I think both of those environments are important, but for different reasons.
Right, okay. Yeah, so I think the members, I think we have under control. And they're the ones that are on the events. We're inviting members to performance events. We do have the members under control. It's the candidates that I thought maybe I need to pare down without creating too many, but maybe that's not an issue. We can allow the candidates to live on as candidates.
Agreed.
But in that case, all candidates are equal. And I was responding to Mike's, talking about, so yes, they are all part of the same candidate family, no matter how active or inactive they are. And if we're happy with that, I'm happy to abandon that because I haven't figured it out yet.
Elliot, I'm wondering about, I got a renewal for Jay Larrick. So I know he's the member now, I guess. Has he shown up? I mean.
Okay, so no, I wrote up an email about this. So Jay is, as far as BHS is concerned, he is now a full-fledged member. But I spoke with him, and his intent is to, he just wanted to get his membership transferred. He's been very active in helping wind down VIH, and he wanted to get his membership transferred to us so that his dues would come to us. In terms of actually joining us, he's not 100% sure. He knows he wants out of barbershop for a while, for another couple of months, to actively be involved. So to me, he's the same as Greg or Joey. He's another sort of inactive candidate who we recognize as, yeah, we'd love to have him if and when, they can join. So that's how I'm treating him. I spoke with him about it. I said, we really appreciate your dues. Would you agree that candidate would be the right place for you to be? And he agreed. So that's what he is. He's a candidate.
He's a candidate, but he's also paying as a, let me kind of say this the way it makes sense to me. Someone can be a member of the Palo Alto Mountain View chapter of the Barbershop Harmony Society and not be a singing member of the Peninsulaires Chorus, right?
Yeah.
So what we have is Jay is paying dues as a member of the Palo Alto Mountain View chapter of the Barbershop Harmony Society, but he is a candidate for being a member of the performing chorus, the Peninsulaires.
And yes.
Does that make sense? No, you got it, Elliot. I know. Paul, does that make sense to you?
Oh.
You're on mute.
He's a paid up member for Peninsulaires. But he's not a fit.
He's a candidate for the performing chorus. He's a member of the Palo Alto Mountain View chapter of the Barbershop Harmony Society. Our chorus is called the Peninsulaires. Our chapter is called the Palo Alto Mountain View chapter of the Barbershop Harmony Society.
I just, the reason I asked is because, badges and stuff. I'm just holding off on everything.
Yeah. Hang on to the badge, and when he shows up, we give it to him.
I don't have it. I have to order it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We should get a badge for Danny Burns, and still need to get his dues sorted out. But
I'll get him a badge.
Yeah, let's get him a badge. Yeah, so the only thing I just want to add to that is it gets very confusing because when I look at BHS stuff, there is the distinction between the chapter and the chorus, but I don't know where they're getting their information, and a lot of it is wrong. like whether they're active with the chorus or not. With Groupanizer, you don't get that visibility into any of that. So it kind of becomes a bit difficult to administer. Although I think we got it right in Jay's case. And yeah, I agree with your characterization of it, Dave. It's just that information doesn't hang together in any sort of consistent way across those two.
Right, understood.
Hey, Elliot, there is an opportunity here to reach out to Groupanizer. I mean, it's run by barbershoppers, and I'm sure this is not we're not the only people that are dealing with this. It might be worth, like, if you really want to keep pursuing this, and there is value. Like, I mean, I was indelicate in how I said it earlier. But like, if the goal is really to get this right, it might be worth reaching out to their customer success and say, here's what we're trying to do, help us set it up right.
Yeah.
Because they are extremely responsive and they want choruses to succeed.
That's a great idea, because I have reached out to their support. They've been very responsive. They're excellent, the Groupanizer people. And so getting advice from them on how to manage that, I think, is a really good idea. Okay.
Anything else, Elliot?
Yeah, I haven't highlighted everything in the report, but yeah, it's out there. These were the main things I wanted to talk about. Yeah, no, I think that's fine.
Thank you, Elliot. Very complete report. A lot of work that you're undertaking. Thank you. Next is Larry, marketing report.
Again, no written report, because it goes in waves for me, right? Depending on what we've got coming up dictates what actions I take to enforce or get the word out about certain things. So we've got a couple of sing-outs coming up, so there'll be some changes to the website and our Facebook and updates. I'll make sure. Oh, I know, just popped into my head. Elliot, you and I had discussed doing a QR code for our sign placard.
Yep.
Let's try to get that thing ready so that we can have that available at the March 19th Palo Alto Farmers Market thing.
Okay. QR code for Meetup.
Meetup or website, anything, just something that directs, somebody can scan it, it'll direct them to us.
Yeah.
Ever.
Think of which one would be more effective.
Yeah. Probably, given the fact that most people that would scan them are going to be younger people, I'd go to Meetup for now, because
Yeah, that is my inclination too. Good.
Hey,
Okay.
if I can make a suggestion, hide it behind a bit.ly, and you can control it without having to rerun the QR. Sorry, technical guy.
Hide it behind what, Mike?
A bit.ly redirect.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah, okay.
so the URL goes to bit.ly, and then you can change where it redirects from there.
Okay, I don't know how to do that.
So you never change the QR code, you change where the QR code.
Yeah.
Right, I get the
redirects to.
concept. I just don't know how to do that.
We'll figure it out.
Okay, bit.ly, Elliot.
Okay.
Other than that, I guess part of my the PR part of me, which means public relations, I lean a little bit more towards Peninsulaires relations with all these videos and goodies that I try to get out every week to the guys. So I'll just keep doing them, and that's about it. That's all I got for now, fellas.
Larry, I've got a quick question for you,
Curtis.
and I haven't had a chance to look through the videos yet. But do we have the videos from Thursday night? I know we have them on YouTube right now. Do we also have a another access to them? So I might go in and edit like a before and after setup that I can put out for the guys.
Hey,
For,
Curtis, don't worry about that. I was going to do that tomorrow.
okay.
Like I'm easy set up for it. You're welcome. You can still ask the question, but I'll take care of that one because I'm all set up for it.
All right.
Yeah, Mike and I talked about it yesterday because I asked him, I said, do you have a way to download the videos I put up on YouTube? And what did you say, Mike? What was your answer? You can.
Yeah, so I can record right off of YouTube. I can
So
record from browser.
Yeah. Does that make sense, Curtis?
Yep.
Okay. And I did send out, I'm sure you've probably seen them. I did send out 5 short clips of just
Yeah.
focused work with Chris.
Yeah, I saw the link. Yeah, I've seen the link. That's on my agenda for later today to start going through.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna play with before and afters too, but I won't publish them.
All right, thanks.
I just do it for fun. So yeah, that's all I got. Unless you have anybody has any questions or additions to what you think I need to be doing.
Larry, thanks so much. You do so much for us, the recordings, the setups.
Oh,
Larry,
You're a
thank you.
champ.
Thank you for mentioning that, Dana. I'm still not crazy about what we're getting, and this could be under new or old business. I'm still not crazy about the recordings we're getting from Zoom for rehearsals. I was really hoping to be able to utilize some of these recordings to show activity, to show the folks that are on Zoom. And unfortunately, we seem to be stuck in speaker view. So the only time a face pops up in our recordings is if they say something.
Well, Larry, why don't we take this offline? You're trying to help me with that. I'll try to look into the.
And I wish I knew the answer, Dana, but I don't. And
Yeah, I don't either
I
yet.
can't-
But
I can't-
We'll look into it.
I can't try it on my own because I'm a free Zoomer.
I can, 3 of us can talk about that. I've had some
Okay.
experience with that, with some other kinds of recordings that I've done. So,
Okay.
Great. Thanks, guys. Okay, next up, Dave Cokerhook.
yeah,
Music.
so I sent out the report. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to look at it. The things that I will comment on have to do with, this touches on something that that John Wanless is involved with as well from the program perspective, and it's tied to the spring show. We do have, I've asked John to look into venues. Okay, he has identified one potential venue and is looking at other potential venues so that we have something to choose from. Right now he knows that we could use the church there, Grace Lutheran Church, which is where we've performed a couple of springs over the last few, not last year, obviously, but in 2019, 2018, we did our spring shows there. So that is a possibility for us. And he's looking at some of the other theaters that are adjacent to or within a high school environment like Woodside High School or Los Altos High School or Wilcox. They all have theaters that are part of their campus. So we'll know more when John gets back. He's in Texas right now at Brigade. So when he gets back, he's going to dig in a little bit further. Other than that, as an update, I didn't have anything to add to the report. Are there any questions about the report?
Yeah.
Elliot?
I noticed there you were talking about pirate attire for the fall district.
Yes.
Our repertoire for, I mean, the 2 tunes we're doing for fall district are like, does pirate attire match that?
it will. It will.
It can work. Now, here's the purpose. The purpose of doing that is we're going to have a show shortly thereafter where those 2 songs are going to be incorporated into the theme of the pirate show anyway. Okay. And secondly, since guys are going to need to get some kind of more coordinated costuming, right, or attire for the fall contest, if we can merge the what people are going to have to acquire and prepare for the show, which is going to come up several weeks after that, right? After the contest, with what we're going to do with the contest, it saves them from having to go out and get something else and buy other stuff, because we don't yet have a determination on what the formal Peninsulaires costume is going to look at moving forward when we go to contest. So, so that we don't know. Bert, the answer to that question, I think, was I'll answer that. I think it was in the report, but I'll answer it. So does that make sense, Elliot?
I think so, but I'm still a little confused, and maybe I've just had too many. Is it the fall show that's going to be the pirate
Correct.
one? So the spring show is just us in our different colored outfits, which is also how we would appear in the
Correct.
okay. Yeah, and okay.
In the spring show, and in the spring show, we are sharing stage with the Mission Valley Sweet Chorus.
Okay, so then the only other comment there, I do think we should at least try to monitor what the different, like enough in advance, what the different primary colors that people are planning to wear, just to make sure we don't end up with something really ugly.
Absolutely right, and we're working on that.
Okay, okay. Because yeah,
You're
it can still look
absolutely
good,
right.
but it can't just be random.
No, you're absolutely correct. Working
Okay.
on that.
Good.
So Bert, the answer to the question is the primary colored shirt, red, green, blue, yellow, whatever, and with a unifying, everyone wearing the same kind of tie, like a silver or a black tie, to be the unifying factor. But at the festival, it's going to be Peninsulaires, different colored shirts, not necessarily with a branded logo, though I do possibly have a way of doing that fairly rapidly, because I have an account with Logo Sportswear, and I think we can coordinate. And they already have our logo, so we can work out that potentially if we wanted to do that, but we don't necessarily have to do that. I have no other thing unless someone else has a question or comment.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate all the work you do for us. That's the end of our reports. Do I hear a motion to accept the report?
So moved.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Second.
Oh, sorry. Getting ahead of myself as usual. All in favor, raise your hands. Okay, that's done. They're accepted. All right. Well, actually, there's no real old business except one did crop up. Paul reminded me that a while back we made the suggestion that we invite one of the VIH guys to join our board. And so my question is, do you think that's of value at this point?
Who have you asked?
I've asked Rich Postal, and he turned us down because he's really busy with district.
Okay,
So-
and then I think we're going to ask Greg, but Greg said he's sort of on the sidelines for a while.
Yeah, he's on the sidelines, and I asked for a referral, and I didn't get anybody.
I came up with two more names. Larry Weiss. He seems to want to be engaged even though he can't attend rehearsal. That might be a very positive, and he can represent the Zoom cohort.
Okay.
Or Chuck Mollett. He's been attending regularly for rehearsals.
Okay, and their contact info is on the Groupanizer, I expect.
That is correct. They should
Yeah.
be.
Great. Okay, well, I'll approach one at a time. Probably Larry
Just for an
first.
at
Go with
large-
Larry first.
Larry.
Yeah.
Okay, so we agree that that's of value then to make that move. All
Yes.
right.
Just a question, is that for at-large position?
Yes.
Okay.
Right. Okay, on new business, I just put on a list with, I didn't get any feedback from you guys, but I think we've had a spring show update, at least partially.
Partially. Let me
Yeah.
comment a little bit more on that. We still don't have anyone who has stepped forward to take on the role of show chair. But the things that have been moving forward is the music component is identified. We have a second chorus that will be performing with us, and that's secured, which is Mission Valley. We do not yet have a third group, which we were talking about trying to get a high school group or some other a cappella group to perform on the stage with us. And to this point, there had been very little, if any, outreach, dominantly because when we talked about the high school type side, there was the two things. One was the uncertainty of what the COVID protocols were going to be for the schools. And secondly, June 2nd happens to be right near the end of their school year and may or may not be something that anybody wants to get involved with. But we've had no direct contact with anybody else there. We did reach out to groups at Google and Facebook, but they have not been meeting during the COVID time and probably won't get back together again until those companies start bringing their people back on premise. So that's kind of iffy. And then the repertoire is set. I think I already said that. We don't have to worry about costumes. We know what that's going to look like. And we just have to finalize the venue and then start promoting. So
Great.
that's kind of the update.
Thank you, Dave. And then the district festival, anything more to add to what's already been said?
Mike, Curtis?
The plan is, as Dave said, doing brightly colored shirts, black pants, black shoes with a uniform check well beforehand, probably at one of the farmers markets, to make sure that everybody's, or probably the Thursday rehearsal as well, to make sure that everybody's kind of dialed into a really not consistent, like a consistently colorful position.
Yeah, and we're looking, Bert, for the more like the button down or the tie thing rather than a polo shirt.
Yeah, button down long sleeve shirt.
At least for this, at this point. I mean, I've liked some of the polo shirts that the Peninsulaires had in the past as a travel uniform and wouldn't mind that again. But for this particular purpose, we're going to be looking at the button down, they'll take a tie, standard type collar.
So just to clarify, when you say button down, do you mean button up or do you literally mean button
a shirt,
down?
the shirt that has buttons on it, as opposed to a polo shirt that's
so
a pullover.
you don't mean that it has to have buttons on the collars?
No, not necessarily.
Okay, because I think that's what button down.
That's typically it is what button down means, and that is correct. So the term was slightly misused.
Okay, so I talked to Rich Postal on Thursday, and I think March 15th is when they're going to open the registration for the festival. And he mentioned some different Joe Barbershop-like organizations that they're looking into. And so there's more to come from Rich. I'll ask him to give us an update.
Yeah, Dana, from a chapter involvement perspective, I think it's extremely important that that we so what they're doing is pushing a Joe Barbershopper chorus for people who are not planning on attending right now, but maybe interested if they got 7 minutes on stage with a Joe Barbershopper chorus. From my perspective, and I think I'm speaking for Curtis here as well, like our primary responsibility for that day is to put our best product on stage. We can encourage the guys, or we can support the guys if they are interested in participating in that, but as long as it is done in a way that does not interfere with with the Peninsulaires activities of the day. Curtis, anything to add to that?
Just ditto, absolutely. Fabulous idea. Let's focus on our performance there, and I'm really looking forward to this, gentlemen.
Paul, did you have a thought?
I just want to say, if anybody here hasn't done the Joe Barbershopper thing, I recommend it. It's incredible. You sing with about, 100 or 200 other guys, and it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, agree.
Yeah, from a day of machinery perspective, they had been talking about using the Joe Barbershopper chorus as the mic tester chorus. I don't think that's a good idea because right now there's only 3 choruses. And so my feedback to, and so like there's a huge like timing and complexity issue if you're the 3 choruses going right now, by the way, are Fog City, Vocal, and us. So like we're in pretty rarefied air right now. So and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Welcome to the big leagues. Or welcome to the next level of heading towards the big leagues. So my feedback to Rich was put this Joe Barbershopper chorus at the tail when the judges, when the contest administrators are tallying up. It's not going to take very long for them to tally up 3 choruses, but basically like we could. And they're just going to be singing like "Heart of My Heart" and "Let Me Call You Sweetheart," right? But doing that, both Vocal could contribute their guys, and we could contribute our guys, and between the 2 of us, that's pretty close to 100 men right there. So that was my feedback to Rich.
Great, and all those performances are going to be in the afternoon for the choruses.
Right now, that's correct.
Yeah, so that's the plan. Great.
Harry had his hand up at one
Harry.
point.
Well, it's the first time I ever heard that term. Could somebody just explain what a Joe Barbershop chorus is?
Curtis?
Sorry, go again.
What is a Joe Barbershop chorus? For somebody, it's the first time I've ever heard that term. It's
Kind of that chorus everybody can sign up for. You get the 2 pieces of music beforehand. You do a couple of very quick rehearsals, and sometimes you walk out on stage and you go.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really a chance to sing with a whole bunch of the other guys who have gone to a convention that are not part of your chapter, so that you can just experience a more grand sense of dozens, if not hundreds, of other guys who are doing the same thing you're doing.
Yeah, the neat thing on this is just that concept. Well, that concept of the brotherhood of being able to just stand up with the other barbershoppers from anywhere and just sing and enjoy each other. And enjoy the music, and you take the pressure off of score. You take all of that off, and you just enjoy that time.
That sounds like fun.
Great. Thanks, Curtis. Thanks for asking the question, Harry. Okay.
Dana Larry has his hand up.
Larry.
Mike C, question about, you mentioned that right now there are 3 choruses. Where is that information coming from, Rich? Are there potentially other choruses that have survived this terrible pandemic?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. One, having the division VP in our chapter is a huge kind of strategic advantage for us, right?
Right.
Because and then also having the division VP in one of the directors' quartets is a further strategic advantage. So so this is coming directly from Rich. We're basically doing about a half-hour division/district catch up before rehearsal each week, or before our quartet rehearsal each week. And so like we're very tightly plugged in with the district coming in and goings. That's by the way, that's sort of how A-level courses do it, in terms of like staying plugged into the administrative aspects or logistic aspects of district events.
Sure. But there still there are still other choruses that are
to answer your specific question, he is reaching out, he's drumming up interest and excitement kind of across all the chapters. right now in the division. Right now, and Richard Lund is the division VP for the NorCal East. So they're both beating the drum to try to get attendance at this thing, because it does represent a very big expense.
Sure.
So the core of it is he's not getting very much chorus interest. But he knows that there's a lot of like kind of individual interest, and so they're trying to use the Joe Barbershopper thing as a mechanism to drive like individual interest, even if guys are not on quartets and not in choruses.
Okay.
Like trying to give more, like it's a boost attendance strategy.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Anything more to say on the farmers market opportunities?
I can tell you that right now for March 19th, we have 22 signed up, 3 tenors, 5 leads, 5 berries, and 8 bases. And we've got 3 maybes, 1 tenor, 1 lead, and 1 bass maybe, and several guys that say no, but just virtually just about everybody has responded. And so it's very gratifying to see that. So we all have a good representation, and yeah. The other thing tied to that is I've put out this question about what we're planning to do on this gig is have a Peninsulaire logoed shirt of some color, right? We've got historically several different colors. We've got that old blue one. We've got the lavender ones. I've got all kinds of different shades that we tried to use some things earlier. So I got a whole bunch of shirts, but there are some guys who don't have a shirt. Some of the new people coming in, and a couple of the candidates who said they're going to perform, like Dave Pearson, Elliott already acknowledged to me that he's going to be there.
Oh.
We're looking at there are some number, and I think it's like 4 or 5 shirts still in the shed. I got to pull out of various sizes. And then there's a couple of guys that are going to need shirts that I know aren't there, like a 2Xs. Well, we don't have any more 2Xs. I know that for a fact. But we're going to see if we can't get somebody who's not going to be performing there, like a Roman who wears a 2X shirt, to be able to, let us borrow the shirt for that one performance. So that's moving along pretty well. 22 guys. I'm pleased.
Yeah,
Dave, I got a couple of 2XLs.
Oh, good.
That I might be willing to donate back in favor of some different choices.
Okay, cool.
Hey,
Thank
Dave. I've had a couple of members who reached out to me about information for how to order bowling shirts similar to the ones that Mike and I have right now. And I haven't sent anything out because I didn't want to cause confusion on the 19th or anything. Do you want me to put together a quick email and send it out, tell people how to order them if they want?
I think
Yes,
so.
please.
There's no reason not to do that. I don't think they'll get them back by the 19th, but
They turned it around in a week for me.
Cool. I don't know that that's it. So I think it's fine. Everybody wants that shirt, go for it. But we've got all these other things, and we're gonna do that as well, just because I don't know how but I don't see any reason not to do that, Curtis. I'd say go for it.
All right.
I think
I'll send an email later
adding
today.
to the mix would be fun. I would love to have one of those. I would love to have one. I would like mine to have our logo on the back. So, Curtis, get me that information so I can find out what typesetting and stuff would cost to see what it looks like with our logo on the back.
Will do.
Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, next item, coaching feedback. What do you guys think of what Chris delivered for us?
Oh, that was a terrible waste of time. I don't ever want to do it again.
That was awesome. That was so encouraging and
fabulous.
Quite a motivator. Just love it.
I would say that, but because we've had in the last month, we've had 2 really significant coaching experiences. We had Cindy there talking about her program. And then we've had Chris come in and do what he did just to perform his magic this past Thursday. I'm going to throw in a third because it looks like just about everybody's been reading that book, Deke's book, which is adding perspective to a lot of this stuff. So this has been I'm personally gratified that people are responding well to the initiatives that the music leadership and the board have decided that we want to bring to the chorus. So I think it's really cool.
Elliot.
Yeah, so totally positive about both events, especially Chris, because I mean, Chris is Chris, and he was there in person. And my perception is that it is having an effect. But I would like to ask our co-directors what they think from their perspective. What sort of changes, if any, they've observed since we brought on these coaches?
Yeah, I was going to say from my perspective, there's a huge enthusiasm and hunger from the risers, from everybody in front of me. I had my pucker moment on Thursday night after the first time we sang that song, but then Chris challenged us and we rose to the challenge, and that was really excellent. And he gave us an incredible roadmap over the next couple of weeks in rehearsal technique and things like that to keep bringing that song forward, keep leveling it up, keep improving on it. Yeah, just the incredible willingness of the ensemble and all the men in the ensemble to try what our coaches are saying. And then it's exactly what I as Bert's picked up there up on the risers from, what was that, 2 weeks ago, where I started the yes 100% and yes we can. That's incredible. It's just absolutely incredible as the director standing up in front to have that kind of enthusiasm, willingness. Let's do this. And Chris, I love everything, Chris. I've had the opportunity to sing under Chris for a while in VIH. And I just love everything he does with vocal technique. He's just so incredible in that area.
Thanks, Curtis.
Yeah.
Yeah, and from my perspective, it's yes to all. Can you feel it?
Yeah.
Like 35 guys on the risers, four at Zooms. People don't want to miss rehearsals. People feel bad about missing rehearsals. I would ask the same questions of you guys. Maybe that's the topic for the good of the order.
Curtis and Mike, were there any specific things that Chris talked to you guys offline or when he pulled you away that you'd like to share with us?
I've got to work on my own connection and face with you guys, because you guys are giving me back exactly what I'm giving to you. So when I go into think mode, he says he says he can see it in an instant because it's 30 people who suddenly go into think mode the moment you guys see my face do that. So I'm going to be working on that.
Yeah, his feedback to me is, "Hey, Mike, you look pissed." So the feedback down from both of those segments where he pulled like, "Hey, pull you aside to talk to the director."
Yeah.
Both of those were like, give the guys a smile because they will give you a smile back. So and that was the first rehearsal without masks in 4 months.
That was
So we haven't had to work our like down below the eyes at all. And like, I know for me, like I have resting bitch face. So like when I'm thinking hard, I look pissed. So so that's, and I don't know if you guys saw it, but as soon as I turned around and like I started playing a little bit more with like some more positive physicality, and like that responded immediately in terms of both the singing effect and the like the audience effect.
Yeah,
So-
I felt that. Yeah.
And one of the things I forget who had talked about it, as we had talked about some of the things that like Cindy had mentioned, you know, the different emotions, and somebody said, well, you're directing different every time we have a different emotion and things like that. And you're absolutely 100% right. But the incredible thing from my perspective is the moment I start directing different, whatever that emotion is that I'm putting into my hands in front of you, you guys are giving it to us. You guys are like there. And that was really obvious to me on Thursday night when Chris started talking about let's get the backbeat on Orange Colored Sky. So I started accenting the backbeats rather than the downbeats, and you guys started swinging that tune, and it was really pretty awesome.
Yeah, you also gave us a little 3-4 beat tempo. Okay, let's do it here, and then we went, and that was amazing how quickly we caught on to that.
The other exercise was the anger piece, like where like we sort of learned to like, oh, don't change your vocal production, but like we found a spot of like, oh, we're gonna do this a little bit more clipped, a little bit more staccato. That was really powerful because we didn't tell you guys to do that. Go ahead.
That was one of those things where Mike O said, you know, they were asking for an emotion and he threw that and was like, where the hell did that come from? But boy, the experience on that was amazing on the risers. It was just like you change your whole the way you carry yourself. So I don't know if it physically was represented to you guys in front of us, but it sure felt physically different when we were singing in that mode.
Now, when he says to sing over the pencil, I've heard that before a number of times, but it really makes a difference. For me, I mean, a lot of times I'm low, you know, you're just a little low. So it really made it, brought it back.
Absolutely.
Elliot.
In a similar vein, the eye thing, raising the eyes and like the intensity and joy in the eyes, I really did feel it raising the soft palate. It really, I really felt the difference. So that was something.
And I have one other question for our directors. First time on the risers in forever. First time generally without masks. Did you hear anything different because of the riser set and or the mask being away? I think I did, given what I've listened to in our videos. I know I got to reset my microphone level because the recordings are kind of hot, which meant we were really giving it. But I was just curious from your guys' perspective. Did you hear anything different with this configuration than you've had, let's say, over the last 3 or 4 weeks?
Go ahead, Curtis.
On my end, I think once you get those risers and we get off the flat floor, there definitely is a sense that the ensemble gels faster, in part because everybody can see there's no block line of sight. Those levels make such a difference with that, and that's just an immediate improvement on sound right there. Once your sync starts working better together. I hope that that's something that we can continue to do, is get those risers up and sing with them. And let's hope that we don't get another wave in this pandemic that causes us to have to go back into masks for a while. And that's kind of one of those things that's frustrating, but because it's out of our hands and we can't do anything about that.
Right.
We do have, and I'm anticipating, since daylight savings time starts a week from tomorrow, I think it is. sometime by the end of March into early April, we should be able to, if we have to, go back outside in the front like we had been doing before the weather got cold. And so the challenge with being indoors and a mask mandate indoors might be mitigated by the opportunity to rehearse outside again.
With the exception of the technicality. Trying to set up Zoom and all that outside is not going to be an
That's
easy
true.
thing at all.
That's
It's
true.
going to be really tough.
That's true.
So we need to consider that. Okay.
Yeah, hopefully we don't go back. Hopefully this was day one of the new rev.
Yeah, yeah.
Who knows, but let's be optimistic about it.
Sure.
From my perspective, there were a lot of new variables on Thursday. There were the masks off, there were the risers on, and there was a coach. The biggest, and so like the question is how much of that translates to this week. I think we'll have a much better data point after this week. And we got some new like, you know, words to incorporate in skills to reinforce and stuff like that. The big thing for me was that like it just felt such a positive energy down front. That seeing the faces, seeing the guys, being able to communicate back and forth like with full facial involvement, and like it was like a breath of fresh air. Everybody felt like, oh, we're back to normal. That was the biggest thing I got from Thursday, as well as some pretty fine singing.
Yeah.
Great comments, guys. Mike and Curtis, anything else you want to add under the director comment feedback?
I don't have anything at the moment.
Mike?
The big thing for me is like we're like the observation is that we're spending a ton of time on, or a ton of organizational energy, including money on coaching. And I would like to find ways to increase the value beyond the 40, the 30, the 35 guys that are at rehearsal. This is a huge marketing opportunity. Like the core, I don't know what that looks like, but like I could sort of imagine like an email newsletter that says, here's like, hey, the Peninsulaires brought in Cindy Hansen, or is bringing in Cindy Hansen April 2nd, or like to our friends and family, or to our inactive members, or something like that. Because like with the cost, I think there's opportunities outside of Thursday night to translate this to even more positive energy. So I'd encourage everybody to think about that and start executing on that like immediately.
Thank you. All right, let's go into good of the order. So Harry, would you start us off?
Okay, well, let's see. Well, after the last rehearsal, I really had trouble going to sleep. I felt so energized. and it was, I mean, I was just thinking when I was up there on the risers, how the chorus has grown and how the sound has improved in spite of everything that we've been through, you know, these last few weeks and months. It really is wonderful. And just a personal note too, I've just been so impressed at the accommodations the chorus has made for maybe those of us who at the peak of the Omicron surge weren't comfortable meeting in person. We had we have Zoom and continue to have the Zoom available. And for those of us like me that aren't quite ready to take off the mask just yet, I'm watching the data, and hopefully I'll be able to take it off soon. But you know, when I look at society at large, how divisive some of these issues have been with, you know, masks or no masks or whatever, and I've experienced nothing but respect and you know, for the decisions that individuals make, and I really appreciate that.
Hear, hear.
Thank you, Harry. We appreciate you too, all the research, and you and Elliot to put this new protocol together. Paul.
Well, it's amazing to come to practice and have that big group there, and then on the risers, it's it's even more amazing than singing in a circle like we've been doing, or in lines. Yeah, it's been nice, and of course the coaching has been great too. You know, extra coaching with Chris, and anyway, yeah, everything's going good. Thanks.
Thank you, Paul. Curtis.
One thing that I have to say, there was something that happened this Thursday that I got so excited about, and it was right at the end of the rehearsal. And I'm going to start with this, and it's you know what, gentlemen, it's a great day to be a barber shopper. And this past Thursday, I wasn't the only one who said it, and it was so incredible. You know, I always feel that it's a great day to be a barber shopper, and when we let each other know let each other know at the end of the rehearsal.
Thank you, Curtis. Mike C.
Yeah, gents, I'm just excited about the path we're on. We're talking about fall already. We're talking about the shows, the songs after May. I think we got some we got some fun, challenging, and really interesting choices to make in the upcoming months. I go swimming. Like I found my purpose in like what I'm looking for out of the Peninsulaires, out of this experience. I spent 45 minutes in the pool this morning, losing weight to be a better director for you guys, and thinking about how big do we want to go for fall contest. So I'm excited. I think the energy is super positive. I think we're going to have a great ride. I'm loving. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for everything you're doing to make it successful.
Thank you, Mike. Elliot.
Yeah, so you know, certainly my experience as a chorus member, you know, the past few weeks has really, I've really felt the difference, you know, all those positive things, really. But what I'm thinking about now is how the board has managed to level up. And I mean, I'm feeling it personally. I mean, part of it is challenges and struggling with a lot of, well, you know, time challenges and different things I need to do in the chapter development role. For example, I know I'm not the only one pushing harder, and I feel like, you know, everyone on this board wants to help. I feel it in the board meetings that we really are focused on upping our game. I've been on the board for I think 4 years now. I started out as at large, and the past couple of years as chapter development. And I also want to thank Mike in particular for lighting a fire under me. When I accepted the role as chapter development, I was offered 3 possible roles at the time. Like, and I thought chapter development would be the easiest one, and that's why I picked that one. And you know, Mike informed me afterwards, you know, no, you picked the hardest one. So anyway, it's fun. I like where we're going, and you know, I'm just going to do my best to help make it happen.
And you're doing great at it, Elliot.
Oh, thank you.
You are, Elliot. Fantastic. Thank you. Bert.
So I want to say what a lot of energy Chris put out for us and we put out for him. I didn't realize how hard I was working there, including my eyebrows and my face, until you gave us a break. And I sat down, I says, crap, I am tired. So I asked Larry, would you put up a picture of Chris on your Zoom screen so we can look up at Chris and see that face, because just his face would remind us of all the subtleties of what he told us just by looking up on the screen and saying, oh my God, I got to put out for Chris. So anyway, thank you guys for a great coaching session. Thank you.
Thank you, Bert. Mike Oliver.
Yeah, so I mean, we're on this trajectory that's just really unbelievable. And I'm like you trying to figure out what the derivatives are and where we're going, right? I was like, it's a little bit scary because the key thing is to can we keep this up? And if we can keep this up, there's just, you know, I don't know what the limits are. We're not close to them. And I'm super excited about that. The other thing on the COVID thing, I've been doing rapid tests every Thursday. I think if we can get other people to you know, I just threw that idea out. I feel like we can make the more conservative members a lot more comfortable if more people would do that and let it be known that they're doing that. So that's just a thought.
Good idea.
Thank you, Mike. Great idea. Bruce, how are you doing, my friend? Can you unmute yourself? Oh,
Can you-
we can't hear you.
Dana, as host, can you unmute him?
I can ask him to unmute, but I cannot.
But you can't do it. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay. All right.
sign language.
That's
yeah.
good. Sign language.
Great seeing you on the risers, Bruce.
Yeah,
Love having
all
you
right.
with us.
Yes. Dave.
So when we started this go round, the thought that came to mind to me that I knew that I had to speak about was special kudos to Elliot. We've now got 4, maybe 5 guys coming in that are candidates. He has been his whole effort to work through this transition process and get the guys from VIH immersed in the culture at the Peninsulaires, and all the effort he's been putting into this whole thing is absolutely stellar. And I think that it's just really helping everybody. It's a contributing factor to why we are moving up. Okay, why this level up concept is working, because it's not the same old. We've got new blood coming in from different directions, and I have to give Elliot kudos for that.
Hey,
Thanks, Dave.
thank you, Dave. Larry.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Good.
Larry the tenor.
David.
100%.
100%. First and foremost, I want to thank Mike C. for recognizing a position change on the risers. I caught it. I didn't see it happen because I was facing him, but I saw it on the video where he took Drew and changed position, because I believe that it's real important to make sure that our newer guys are surrounded by other guys, because it will help to increase their confidence. I also noticed that most of us were, especially after Chris asked about our ability to sing Orange Colored Sky off chart. I noticed a lot of books going down. With regards to Bert's comment, unfortunately, I've got 2 camera views looking at the chorus, and unless somebody else took a photograph or something, I would love to throw Chris's face up on that screen too, because he brings not just, I mean, he makes my ears ring sometimes because he's really loud, right? But seeing his face might be something nice. So if there's a chance, I can find it. But most of what we got is his not his good side, if that makes sense.
Check his LinkedIn profile. You might be able to grab a photo from there.
And we'll check around. Other than
Make him a fake Zoom person.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
Well, what I can do, let's see.
We'll talk.
We'll talk on how to do that.
We'll talk.
Yeah.
Lastly, I'm so charged. I'm so energized by the direction that we're going and the leadership coming together to make this work. And it was a biggie for me Thursday night because when Dave mentioned let's set the risers up, I was like, yeah. And then the fact that we didn't have to wear a mask, I just felt so much more freedom. And I came out of that, like you, Harry, could not sleep. But I don't sleep anyway on Thursday nights. I come home and do videos until 3 or 4 o'clock. So there you go.
Hey,
Thank you,
Dana,
Larry.
Dana, I wanted to mention something that came up at the meeting. Bruce actually pointed it out to me. There's a fellow there, a new guy, an Indian fellow. He's a lead, and he said Bruce told me he can't sing. He can't sing.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that on Thursday. We
It-
have a plan.
it-
We
it's-
have a. Go ahead, Dave.
It's not, his name is Prashant. And it's a question of, during warm-ups, he struggles with catching the note that's blown on the pitch pipe. When he's singing any of the songs that he's worked on and he finds the pitch, he's great. He's spot on. So we're working with him on that duplication of tone from the beginning of the whatever the action is. It's not that he can't sing because he's got a really pleasant voice. What he's doing is he's singing a third above everybody else, doing the exact same movement of notes, just a third above.
There's skill building that we're going to be working with him on.
Elliot.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to mention, we got him on Track Wrangler for that reason. And initially he was having difficulty because he was running it with Safari. And now he's running it on Chrome and it's working really well for him. And he's enthusiastic and really appreciative about the opportunity to become a candidate.
And
So-
Track Wrangler will help him a lot.
And also, I specifically vetted him. I walked into his audition for candidacy, pretty strong no. And he convinced me between his attitude, he's taking vocal lessons. There's a number of things here. And I was like, this is going to be a project. This is going to be a longer term thing, but he's the sort of guy that I think really benefits the Peninsulaires outside of the singing. I think his singing can get there as well.
Thank you. Well, on my part, I'm just so impressed with you guys, first of all. And there's an example of you stepping up to help a brother who may be struggling. That's just a hallmark of an organization that is going to grow, going to develop relationships, both singing and outside of singing, for a lifelong career in barbershopping. And I'm so excited about the level of energy and enthusiasm that I see from everybody on the risers, especially this last Thursday. So let's keep up the good work. I love you guys. All right. So with that, I'm going to call this meeting adjourned.
Okay. Thanks,
Uh,
Dana.
Guys,
Thank you.
one quick thing before we all split. We have a day-long session with Cindy on April 2nd. Is that the
Correct.
date?
Saturday,
Yes.
April 2nd.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking, we're going to be doing some very specific programming. For the guys who have done retreats before, if you have suggestions on on like specific activities we should do, please forward those to Dave. So that because we're gonna be doing like a very thorough kind of hour by hour program on this to maximize effectiveness of that time together. So I encourage you, if you have suggestions, but we're probably going to bring lunch in, like administrative stuff, like some of the things that you've seen in past retreats or events that have been very successful. Thank you, guys.
Guys,
All right.
see you next
See y'all.
Thursday.
Thank you, man.
Bye-bye.